Welcome back to today's economic news, where we dig into the stories shaping our world with a focus on what really matters. I'm your host, John, and today's headline is causing a stir both in academia and the wider societal discourse. The University of Oklahoma has fired a teaching assistant following a zero-grade scandal. Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty of what went down, let's set the stage for why this particular incident should grab your attention. Why does this matter? Well, at the heart of this controversy is a battle over academic freedom and the right of students to express their beliefs without fear of repercussion. The University of Oklahoma scandal does not exist in a vacuum. Rather, it highlights the growing divide between traditional beliefs and progressive narratives in educational settings. Imagine if your ability to speak your mind, to challenge the status quo, was slowly eroded. Are we willing to let this become the new norm? Before we examine this situation, let's rewind and understand the context that's been brewing. Over recent years, universities across the nation have actively adopted policies to incorporate a range of viewpoints on gender and sexuality, seeking to be more inclusive in response to societal pressures. However, this has often led to a clash between deeply rooted traditional beliefs and the dominant progressive ideologies on campuses. Historically, we've seen legal precedents being set to protect free speech in academic environments, with influential rulings by the U.S. Supreme Court protecting the expression of religious beliefs within learning institutions. Adding to the complexity, we have laws like Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. Originally designed to prevent sex-based discrimination, Title IX has expanded over the decades to include gender identity and expression, fundamentally reshaping campus policies. Within this framework, the incident with Samantha Fulnecki has unfolded, adding fuel to the fiery debate over whether the expression of certain beliefs can lead to unfair academic penalties. This case is emblematic of an ongoing societal struggle to define what true academic freedom looks like and how faculty biases can impact grading, especially on contentious topics like gender and religion. Let's scrutinize the evidence and details at hand. The teaching assistant was dismissed after assigning a zero grade on a paper that allegedly did not meet the criteria of the assignment. Specifically, the grade assigned was 0 out of 25. Now, to put this in perspective, imagine a situation wherein you submitted an extensive project, you're expecting some form of academic feedback or critique, and instead you get nothing. Your efforts are seemingly nullified, prompting questions about the fairness of the process. Now, according to the statements by William Melkurth, they justified their decisions, citing consensus within major psychological, medical, and psychiatric associations that gender is neither strictly binary nor fixed. This reflects a scientific consensus, but raises the question of whether individual interpretation of empirical evidence allows for nullifying a student's work based on adherence or lack of adherence to these viewpoints. Curiously, despite official statements asserting that points were not deducted for holding certain beliefs, the core of the debate suggests otherwise. Let's remember a quote from one official response. "Please note that I am not deducting points because you have certain beliefs, but instead, I am deducting points for you posting a reaction paper, which heavily uses personal ideology." But does that explanation hold water, or is it a facade for deeper issues at play? On the surface, the mainstream narrative argues the university took appropriate action to uphold a neutral academic environment. Yet critics argue this decision exemplifies censorship, stifling dissent, and the free exchange of ideas, particularly those rooted in religious perspectives. The broader implication of these actions suggests a bias against students who don't subscribe to progressive ideologies. From a libertarian viewpoint, this issue is linked to the themes of inflation, government incompetence, and a severe loss of liberty. The investigations and administrative processes associated with firing teaching assistants can inadvertently inflate tuition costs, diverting funding away from educational resources. This betrays a lack of competent management within educational administrations, raising the critical issue of whether such institutions can maintain academic standards under this climate. Moreover, what we witness here is a blatant erosion of academic freedom, pressuring students to conform rather than express genuine beliefs. If true education is a marketplace of ideas, how confident are we that this marketplace remains open to all? To wrap up, The firing of a teaching assistant over grading practices is a microcosm of larger battles over ideology, expression, and fairness in academia. If this story resonates with you, if you feel the need to defend genuine exchange in our educational systems, then hit that subscribe button. Until next time, this is John signing off. But remember, your voice matters. Let's make sure it's never silenced.